YouTube. Welcome back to another video. It's your boy Faisal the Great One. And look, we got to talk about, in my opinion, one of the best matches that I do feel like we're going to be seeing on WrestleMania weekend. No, this is not a predictions video, but I mean it is, but it's not at the same time. You guys will see what I mean by that. But I kind of want to compare and contrast the differences in the pros and cons when it comes to Jay winning and Gunther losing, vice versa, Jay losing and Gunther winning. So, to start off the video, I just kind of want to talk about how it's very poetic that Gunther has now faced this will be the second year in a row where Gunther is facing a underdog, and in my opinion, it kind of makes sense because Gunther's never really. I don't think Gunther's going to be in a match that no one thinks he's gonna win, right? And props to Triple H. I know he loves Gunther, which was Walter at one point. And obviously, Shawn Michaels, he booked him pretty well when he was in NXT 2.0. However, I do feel as though that we are now getting to the point where Gunther on the biggest stage is starting to put talent over that. I'm not trying to say that they don't need to get put over, but Gunther is somewhat being seen as a final boss himself, right? And to start off, I want to talk about the cons to Gunther losing, right? So, like I said, last year, Gunther did face another underdog in Sami Zayn, right? The match was amazing. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I thought that Gunther was going to lose, right? Like, I genuinely thought, like, that was the surefire match. I was like, yeah, like, he's not losing, right? Like, because it didn't, not that it didn't make sense, but I just could not see him losing to Sami Zayn last year, right? Like, it was the best Intercontinental Championship run of all time, which is that's what it's supposed to do, right? Like a championship run is supposed to make you feel as though that the champion is never going to lose, but not never going to lose in a Roman Reigns capacity where it's like, wow, like this guy's at the top of the company, no one else is able to do the job. Like, no, like they're just that dominant to the point where like anyone else that stands before them just doesn't seem like they're going to be good enough to beat them. And obviously Sami Zayn, he's him, like he had his moment, and I do think that it will be Jay's time now. Now, the second thing I wanted to get into that's not so well for Gunther losing is he will now have a 1-2 record at WrestleMania, and I understand that WrestleMania streaks aren't necessarily the biggest deal, or it's not the NFL playoffs where like some teams just fall short in the playoffs, like the Buffalo Bills have in recent years, or just like other teams in the NFC as well. But like Gunther now, I'm not trying to say that Jay winning is going to put him in that state where it's like he always gets to this point but can't win the big one, because in reality, that's where Jay was and somewhat is now. They started the build for this match, I want to say, what was it? It was actually the night after or 2 nights after the Royal Rumble, right? Like they started off hot. Jay and Gunther, they had their promo. Jay was pretty much saying like, he'll decide who's he's gonna face at WrestleMania, whether that was going to be Gunther or Cody Rhodes. We kind of knew it wasn't going to be Cody Rhodes. That didn't really make a lot of sense. Obviously, like they ended on really good terms, as Cody said, until we yeet again. And, when Jay selected Gunther, it was pretty much like, okay, you're going to have this another underdog battle where that's pretty much where they're building this matchup, right? Like they're building this match as Jay being the underdog. And, to start with the pros for Jay winning, I think that it's very telling that Jay's going to win to me only because of how things have been booked so far. Jay has not really had the upper hand, and it's not to say that he won't. There's about like what 40 something days until WrestleMania. Like Jay's not going to go out on Raw and be on his back for the next 5 weeks. Like that's not going to happen, and I can tell you that right now. However, I do feel as though that the momentum that Jay has behind the crowd, like listen to the pops that Jay gets when he runs out to the ring, right? These last few weeks, we've had Gunther versus Akira Tozawa, and we had Gunther versus, who was it? Otis, right? Now, as funny as it is to me when Gunther is going crazy on people on the mic, I do feel as though that you kind of run into this thing where it's like, okay, what is Jay going to do, right? Like, what is Jay going to say? Is he going to come out here for the save? And, Jay came out for the save last week, and it was all cool. He stood up for Akira. But this week when he came out, he got put to sleep. And, it's about time that the heel does get his comeuppance, I guess you can say, and look like a real champion, because at the same time, while Gunther is opening and issuing out these open challenges to anyone on the roster, he's getting a run for his money, right? Like, it's not like these are squash matches. Like, I guess you could say if any of the matches were squash matches, I guess you could say that it would have been the one with Akira Tozawa, even though he gave him a run for his money as well. The match versus Otis, yeah, he was on his ass easily, right? So I do think that it's really cool that they're making this story in terms of Gunther is just too confident. And the only issue that I have with Gunther being too confident and having that be the storyline is that Gunther was too confident last year at WrestleMania, and that's why he lost to Sami Zayn. And, if you're going to be the world heavyweight champion, you would assume that like he's learned from these mistakes. Like he's learned and now he's a better champion than he was before because he climbed his way up the card. Now he's the world heavyweight champion. He's a better champion than he was a year ago. But it seems like the story that they're going with is he's underestimating all his opponents, including Jay. And when he gets to WrestleMania, he's going to get stunned, right? And I don't know if stunned necessarily means that he loses by, like a roll up victory. I can really see that because I've seen Jay win by roll ups like over, like as time has gone on. However, I do feel like a definitive 1, 2, 3 pinfall victory over Gunther would send Jay to higher heights, right? Like, look at where Jay is on Monday Night Raw right now. This dude has lost so many matches, yet the next week that he comes out, he gets cheered like crazy, right? Like no one really gives a damn when Jay loses a match, and there's not too many people, not too many performers, not too many stars that have that benefit, right? And I think the only person I can think of that comes to mind right now, no pun intended, since he has the WrestleMania theme song. Well, I mean, he's not in the song, that the portion that they use, but Playboy Cardi, like that is an artist who he can capitalize off the hype anytime he wants. He just chooses not to. And, that's kind of like the little bit of the difference between, Playboy Cardi and Jey Uso. I'm not trying to necessarily compare the two, but it is amazing that no matter how many things goes in the opposite of the direction that needs to go for them when it comes to momentum, as soon as they come back out, everyone's hype, right? Like, Playboy won't drop no music. Or he'll say music's coming, everyone gets hyped, then they get let down when he doesn't drop it. And then when he puts the most simplest post on Instagram or X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, everyone's hype again. Jey Uso loses matches, and when they hear that Uso, they go crazy, right? Like Uso crazy. Obviously, that was an old T-shirt that they had, him and his brother. But yeah, guys, I do feel as though that Jey Uso is going to win. It does remind me of the Eddie Guerrero story. Not that he can't get a definitive pinfall victory, but it'll be very interesting to see where they go forward with this. They have about 4 to 5 weeks until WrestleMania 41. I don't know if they're going to continue having Jay, get his ass whooped into the match, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. It's been your boy Fizz with a great one. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'm out, bruh.